Hey y'all. So we began March Motivation addressing anxiety. Um, Over the last 3 months, those of you that have been actively following my social media, um, we've been going through some of the mental and spiritual and emotional feelings that are attached to some of the reasons why we haven't been able to heal, we haven't been able to lose weight, just how those three things coincide with the physical wellness. And this one's gonna hit a little hard. Our focus for the last week of March Motivation is going to be grief. It's going to be grief. Um, Y'all know I walk it like I talk it. Everything that I'm challenging you to look at yourself in the mirror to do, every fast, every workout, every dance circuit, every eating challenge, every fruit challenge, I'm doing it with you because I'm walking it. I'm walking it with you. God is dealing with me in the same way that He is encouraging me to record and help you to deal with yourself. And I went through so much grief this month. And yes, I am talking about the loss of my aunt, my beautiful aunt. I want to start there. She was everything to me. We were very close. If she didn't call my Nana every day to talk to her, she was talking to me. I used to do her hair. She was my sensitive family member, the most sensitive. And so I could call her to cry, even if it was about the same thing or something that happened when I was 5 or 11. Yeah, she was my girl. She gave me my fashion sense. The diva moments that I have came from her. My nails are red for her. I never wear red nails. Stilettos. She was like, you always need a pair of stilettos. But as I'm reminiscing on her death, I do know that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. But grief comes in different forms. I say all that to say I've experienced a lot of grief this month because we don't consider the loss of best friends, the heartbreak from your first love, your first serious relationship. Sometimes we overlook the grief that comes from marriages ending and how that affects our mental health, which affects how we eat and what we eat. I'm telling y'all, every way that you feel in the physical realm, it manifests how you eat, what you eat, how often you do or don't eat, and the things that you want to eat. And that's why I always address the mental part, because nobody does. Nobody does. There's no fitness regimen. There's no weight loss or healing or wellness regimen that addresses that. They go hand in hand. And I noticed as old things, old friends that just stopped talking to me, first loves that moved on, and, you know, exes that have cheated on me. It's been a very trying month for me, but I'm exposing myself because I want you to be able to look in the mirror and know that it's okay. Like, it's okay for your heart to still be broken, because I know that we move on. Most of us just move on. Like, okay, that friendship's over, that relationship's over. I lost that person. Life moves on. But in your body, that trauma is stored. You store that trauma, that hurt, and that pain. There was a death that happened, whether it was in the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual. If you guys had sex together, a death occurred whenever that person left your life. There's a void that's in your life. And 99% of us, I say 99 because I don't want there to be one person to get on here and be like, I didn't do that. Okay, whatever. I'm talking about when you really love them, when you really had a close connection with them, you had a close bond with them, head over heels, the best friendship you've ever had, the best closeness you've ever had, the best relationship you've ever had, the best connection, whatever they were to you, whether y'all were talking, dating, they were a family member, you were married to them, you were in a relationship, y'all were boyfriend, girlfriend, whether you were a teenager, a young adult, or whether you're in your old age, grief affects your health. It affects your health. And this week, we're going to dance it out. This type of trauma cannot be healed with food. And I wanted to make this video because this is the one of the one and only times where this type of emotional hurt and pain that I'm addressing there's no food that you can eat to make it feel better. Those heart palpitations, when you think about them, the pain in your stomach, the knot in your throat, the tears that want to come when you hear their name, when you see their face, when you pass a picture of them, when you drive past the grocery store where you guys used to hang out, the school you used to go to. Those memories are stored. And yes, it may be attached to a good memory or a good time, but it also may be attached to a bad memory and a bad time. And I want to leave this video here, if ever you have a moment like that, so that you can go through this next series of videos and not eat your grief. 99% of people that experience grief are not okay crying it out. We don't know how to communicate it out. You turn to drinking, food, smoking, or you just lay up under somebody else like, well, I messed this up, or they moved on, I got to get another friend. So you just run into the arms of somebody else. And that is extremely detrimental to your health. It's extremely detrimental to your mental state. It's extremely dangerous for your spiritual walk and your purpose and your growth. Feeling grief is necessary in this life. The Bible says there's a time to dance, but there is also a time to mourn. Right before that or after that, it specifically says that. It's in Ecclesiastes. I'll post the video, the scripture below and in the video. I'll post it somewhere. But you have to acknowledge that grief. And this week, I know most people are off of spring break. So I took a break last week to grieve and lay my aunt to rest. And during that time, I was hit all at once. My old best friend, longest friendship I'd ever had, closest friendship I ever had. I'm talking about when you see her, you see me. When I see her, like, we like this, okay? Yeah, there was some things that came up that I don't want to talk about that. Yeah. Anyway, so we are going to look in the mirror this week because death happens, loss happens, grief happens. So this week we're going to focus on looking in the mirror, peeling those layers back, touching on those things that are uncomfortable, the things that we ran from, the emotions that we tried to hide, the veils and the walls that we put up to protect ourselves from the love that we felt for those people and the pain that the dissolution of those friendships and their deaths and those relationships brought to us, and the ways that we harm ourselves with what we eat and drink to replace that. So this week's focus is actually going to be fasting. I want us to focus on eating one intentional meal a day as we peel back the layers. As you think about your most hurtful losses, that family member that was the closest to you, the one that shocked you, the death that shook you to your core, whether they were sick and you prepared for it, or they just dropped dead for some unforeseen reason, and for that friendship that you thought was going to be forever, and y'all were going to raise your kids together, you were going to grow old together, the chemistry that was unmatched, the banter, the growing up together, families knowing each other. We're going to peel back those layers of not the why, but just acknowledgement of the feelings, because you can't control it. That relationship, whether it was your first relationship, first marriage, whether it is multiple relationships, because you had a lack of self-control to sit in that grief. Allow yourself to be single. Allow yourself to love yourself and realize what you did wrong, what you didn't do wrong, and just the pain that some of the things that they did, that you did to them, how they affected you. We're going to focus on not eating as much, because when we begin to peel back the layers, when we're eating, first of all, most people don't usually eat when they're grieving. The stories in the Bible, when people were grieving, the Bible said they rent their clothes, like they ripped them, and they wore tattered and painful and dingy and somber clothing because their souls were sad, their hearts were sad. And just to touch on the physical part, you know the feeling of grief. There's definitely a lump in my throat. I am trying not to cry. My eyes are puffy and swollen from the last 3 weeks of crying. My face is swollen, but your stomach is in knots. Your heart is just beating so fast. Sometimes you feel pain in your chest. Don't ignore those feelings and just, man, I'm going to just have a drink. Don't do that. We can do that. We tend to do that. Or I'm just going to eat cheeseburgers. Well, I'm just going to have a cheat week. I'm not really feeling it. Or we just curl up in the bed. It's okay to cry. And it's okay to talk it through. If you don't have anyone to talk it through, God is always there for you to talk it through. Look at yourself in the mirror. Talk to yourself. God is within you also. But it's time. It's time to address the grief that keeps us in the cycles that are unhealthy for our health. It is more common than not to die, not to be morbid, but to die from heartbreak, to die from grief, the pain that grief causes, unable to get over the grief, unable to get over the pain. And this week we're going to focus on that. So 1 meal a day, preferably between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. There will be a 4 to 5 hour window where we will eat. But in the morning, we are going to reflect. In the daytime, we are going to receive and be present. We're going to go to work. We're going to take care of our kids. We're going to do the responsibilities that are keeping our lives afloat. We're going to be accountable. And then in the and we're going to eat during that time, just to be present, keep our flesh afloat. We don't want to wither away. And then in the evening time, we are going to release everything we thought about for the day, everything we talked about. If you have the opportunity to reach out to the person, if you feel like it's time to reach out to the person, if you can go visit their gravesite, please go. But forgive yourself for the things that you didn't know, the ways that you treated your body, the ways that you participated in your own heartbreak in these deaths, relationships, friendships. And we got to heal. But we can no longer try to heal by making the outside sexy while the heart is broken, while the mind is unable to get past this idea of the person no longer being in your life, because they're gone. They're gone, baby. They are deceased. They are in another relationship. They have new best friends. Your lives don't align. The timing for reconciliation may not be, but you still have to be able to look at you. You still have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. And I know that this is not a conventional way to do fitness, but the amount of pain that I feel with the spiritual gift to discern and know what fruits to give you, what workouts to give you. I also see a lot of pain, and I acknowledge everyone else's pain. And it's time to acknowledge some of the grief that I've gone through. Everyone knows the type of pain. Well, everyone knows what type. Everyone knows I'm dealing with a pretty life-altering situation with my husband being paralyzed recently. He was shot 7 times. The details of who, what, where, when, and why are between the two of us. But there is a grief there, grieving the life that could have been, the life that was. And I'm here with you. You don't have to tell your business on the internet. This is freeing for me because I don't talk to anyone. I'm silent. But it's time to release that trauma. I usually just dance it out and fast. But I'm telling you so that I can show you what has worked for me in the spirit realm, and it has manifested successfully in the physical realm. And it's time. It's time to peel another layer back. I lost my aunt, reconnected with an old friend. Lost loves are coming left and right to rehash things that I don't want to rehash. And it's okay if you don't want to talk to them. It's okay if you're not strong enough to talk to them. It's okay if your relationship doesn't permit for you to talk to them. But this is about you. This is about acknowledging your feelings. This is about acknowledging how they made you feel. This is about acknowledging what mistakes we don't want to repeat. And this is about acknowledging that when that time does come, if you're not in a phase of grief, we're all going to experience it. And this is about acknowledging what to do when the grief is knocking at your door, because baby, it's coming. We all have our time. We are all going to lose someone that is still alive. We're all going to lose someone that is going to be removed from the physical realm in death. And we can't just eat that pain. We have to be able to maintain the way that we love ourselves as best as we can. And I want to give you the tools to do that. Yeah. It's been a rough few weeks. Yes, I've been crying, but that's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. OGBBL is real. This is real healing. This is not just let me give you a workout and a meal plan and go about your way. Because God made us all differently. So I take everything and everyone that I coach, everyone that I client, everyone that is a client, I take everything that they give me, but you have to give it to me. And I take it to the Father so that I don't carry it around. And he tells me what to give you. That's why it's been so successful. So I'm happy to have you, whoever's participating in this challenge. If you're not even ready to admit that you're participating or watching, that's fine. The videos are still going to be here. And yeah, there's another level of freedom that I intend to reach for myself. There's another level of peace that I intend to unlock so that I can help my children, my children's children, my clients, myself. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yes, I'm in my robe, in my house shoes. I do not have any makeup on. I did not do my hair. This is real. This is real talk. And I love you. If no one told you today, I love you. I love you to your soul. And let's get into the grief work. Bye.